Okay, as they mentioned, Cynthia will be back. She'll be interviewing Representative Keith Ellison, who has been kind enough to spend his Labor Day holiday with us here. We're looking forward to hearing what he has to say. Keith has represented the 5th Congressional District of Minnesota in the U.S. House of Representatives since 2007. The 5th District is one of the most vibrant and ethnically diverse districts in Minnesota and includes the city of Minneapolis and surrounding suburbs. Now in Congress, Representative Ellison serves on the Financial Services Committee, which provides oversight for the nation's housing and financial service sectors. He also serves on the Foreign Affairs Committee, which oversees the country's diplomatic affairs. Representative Ellison is a member of the Minnesota DFL Party and previously served 2 terms in the Minnesota House of Representatives. He was born and raised in Detroit, moved to Minnesota in 1987 to attend the University of Minnesota Law School, where he earned a law degree in 1990. I happen to know him and his lovely wife, Kim. They're just lovely people. Please put a round of applause together for Representative Keith Ellison and Cynthia Dzikis.
Thanks, Roxanne.
Thank you, Keith. Good to see you.
Congressman, thanks for joining us today.
Very pleased to be here.
Now, since we are at the State Fair, this is my first time being here.
Oh,
do you have any recommendations for your favorite highlights of the fair?
Mini donuts. Strong. Mini donuts. Let's hear it for Mini donuts. Mini donuts back here. Another big recommendation is the sky thing here. You can see the whole fair up there, right? Can I get a thumbs up for that one? So, I mean, those are the 2 highlights. After that, you just kind of got to freelance and do your own thing.
All right, I'll make sure to do those. So what I wanted to start off talking about today is sort of what's been on everyone's mind this August, which is the healthcare reform bill.
Wait a minute, I got to finish my Twitter.
Excuse me.
Okay, I'm sitting.
The congressman is twittering as we speak.
As we speak. Live action.
But one of the big questions right now is whether the public option, and if you don't know about the public option, it's it would be government run, similar to Medicare, and it's one of the big points of debate in the healthcare reform bill. And so the big question is whether that will actually end up in there.
Yes.
And I know previously you've said that you wouldn't support it without a robust public plan, and I just wanted to find out, where do you stand now on that?
The same place.
Okay.
Feet firmly planted in concrete on that issue. Let me say this. Here's the public plan. Here's the plan, the whole plan. The first prong of it is employer-based health care. That will remain for the 85% of Americans who get their health care through their employer. Then you have the second element of reform, which will be existing government-run health care, like Medicaid, Medicare, VA, stuff like that. But we're going to we need to get some money to get the people who are eligible for Medicaid, but who still don't get it because their state doesn't have the money to offer it. And then, of course, there'll be other reforms like non-discrimination. Women pay more for health care than men do, and this is wrong. And we have to do something about it, and this bill's going to do that. The other thing is that if you've ever been dropped or you've had a higher rate of insurance because of a pre-existing condition, we're going to bring that to an end. And the way we're going to do it is we're going to extend the pool of people who will be getting insurance. We're going to cover the uninsured, the 49, not 7, not 6, 49 million who are uninsured. A bigger pool means we spread risk, and we should be able to cover everybody and to stop people from being excluded for pre-existing conditions. But the third piece of reform, which is very important, is an exchange. Now, what is an exchange? An exchange is a market. Look out over here, people buying and selling stuff all over the place, right? That's an exchange. New York Stock Exchange, right? And so what would happen on the exchange is you could go on the internet and you could just tick through the various insurance offerings that various companies have. You could buy it from the company X or company Y. There'd be a basic plan, a standard plan, and a Cadillac plan. They'd cover this or they wouldn't cover that. It would be for this or it'd be for that amount of money. And you could kind of shop and compare. One of those options, one of those choices would be the public option. And it would be a public option administered by the Health and Human Services. The CEO of the public option would be Kathleen Sebelius, who is the head of HHS, Health and Human Services. she would get paid what she gets paid now, about $174,000 a year, instead of what the insurance companies pay their CEOs, which is somewhere around $3 million, $4 million. The guy who runs Aetna, he gets $24 million, and that's just base salary. We haven't even talked about bonuses yet. They wouldn't be spending money on advertising. They wouldn't be giving campaign donations. And so they'd be in a position to offer you a good insurance plan for a lower rate. Now, why is that good? Because at this point, you have insurance, only 2 or 3 providers in nearly every big city. Isn't that right? Here in Minnesota, we got Medica, the Blues, and we got United Healthcare. So, and so you got only a few. All markets are like that, only a few. Why do they charge us these higher rates? Why do they spend it on advertising and everything we don't need? Because they can. They have market power. And so with a public option, they're going to have to be sleek, mean, and lean, and offer us a good price because the public option is going to keep them low. Here's one more thing, if you don't mind, Cindy. The public option is also going to be able to transmit medical information for standard practices, for good medical care practices. Like, for example, let's just say you got to get surgery on your arm. A lot of doctors would say, let's do a local anesthetic on that. It's a little safer and it costs a whole lot less. So let's do that. You know, the problem is I'm fasting for Ramadan, so I cannot drink anything, unfortunately. But we'll suffer through it. And so they can transmit medical information and try to improve the quality of care by promoting what we know is evidence-based medicine. So my long spiel's over.
No, that's, all good information. I guess the problem logistically, Senator Kent Conrad, for instance, has said there is not enough support for the public option in the Senate.
We'll see.
So, so if you're faced with a situation where you have a number of those elements included, the exchange, the deal with pre-existing conditions, those things, but you don't have the public option, would you consider, sort of the good shouldn't be the enemy of perfect argument?
Well, the answer for me is no, and here's why. Because, this healthcare deal is a 3-legged stool. One leg of the stool is we're going to give the insurance industry 49 million new people, right? Mm-hmm. So we're giving them that. They're going to make a lot of money with that. The other thing we're giving them is we're going to do some insurance reform things like non-discriminations, pre-existing condition, and we're going to do some other things as well regarding healthcare disparities, because different communities of color get different health outcomes than other communities. So we're going to try to, raise people's healthcare quality up. The third thing is if we're going to give them all these new customers, how do we make them not charge us even more money than they're charging us now? How do we stop them from, look, they've doubled. If you have health care, can I show of hands, who has employer-based health care right now? Okay, your premiums have doubled, and they probably will double again in the next 10 years. Healthcare insurance reform is not only for the uninsured, it's for us all. So unless we do something to hold the prices down, we're not going to be able to really afford it. So here's the thing. The Congressional Budget Office, the CBO, say CBO. Can you say CBO? Says that the public option saves $150 billion with a B. Saves money. Now, why in the world would a bunch of folks who call themselves fiscally conservative not want an option that promotes choice and saves money? That's classic conservatism, right? Why are they against it? Competition, choice, save money. That's a no-brainer, right? So that's why I'm not budgeting. I've already compromised. I'm an advocate of universal single-payer health care. I'd like to see us have a national insurance program, health insurance program, and I gave up that in exchange for this. So I've done all the compromising I'm going to do.
To wrap up our healthcare questions.
Yeah, I talk too much. I'm sorry.
That's what we want you to do.
I'm loquacious.
So